Here are some of the product announcements at NAMM 2020 that you may have missed, though more specifically, some of the products that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to start with the Ibanez Pier Gem. I've been a fan of Steve Vai for the longest time and have owned a couple of Gem guitars in the past. I'm really looking forward to this new variation on the Gem. It's very flashy as expected from anything that Steve Vai does. It's also quite expensive at $3,500. Next, I want to talk about the LR Bag's Soundscape pedal. So this is an acoustic guitar amp, but what's unique is that it can measure the acoustic response of your guitar, capture that as a voice print, and replace the pickup signal with this voice print. You're supposed to use a phone to capture the guitar's acoustic voice, which is interesting because I'm wondering how accurately the low quality mic on a phone is going to capture the tonality of a complex acoustic sound source. Nevertheless, very interesting technology. Imagine getting a voice print of some high-end Loudon guitar and replicating that with a cheap orange wood. In theory, sounds very exciting, a little expensive though at $400. The Orange Terror Stamp. Now you may know of the Orange Micro Terror, which is an extremely small tube-based amp head. So the Terror Stamp is essentially the same thing but in a stomp box format. You can plug this to a cabinet, but also has a cab simulation output, something that I prefer, especially for recording. I don't have the luxury of cranking up a tube amp in a home environment, but with this pedal, I can get the sound of a cranked tube amp without blaringly loud levels. The demos of this amp pedal sound fantastic, and considering it's going for $199, it's going to be a really good buy. Everyone is talking about the ARP 2600, but I'm more interested in the Korg New Tech Overdrive kit. This uses their new tube technology, which I played with on their Volker new bass. You can check out the link for my video on that. Korg has been selling an overdrive kit with the new tube for a while now, but it's really hard to find this and it requires soldering. But this new kit is a lot simpler to put together and you get the same new tube based overdrive. I really like the sound of the new tube, so I'm looking forward to playing with this kit. No soldering required for this pedal. Currently there's also no information on pricing yet, so look out for that. The Yamaha NTX-1 classical guitar. I've always struggled playing a nylon string guitar due to its really wide neck. The NTX series of guitars from Yamaha is a nylon string guitar with the playability of a steel string or electric guitar, shallower neck profile, slimmer body, and narrower fingerboard. It also has a really fantastic pickup system called the Atmos Feel, which is a pickup system with a piezo, a mic, and a body sensor. Should be very easy to amplify or process with pedals. These guitars are also quite affordable, starting at $440, though the Atmos Feel pickup system is on the NTX3, which starts at $999. Alright, let's talk about synths. The only synth that intrigued me this year was a synth that Korg was teasing. This is the OP6, which looks like an FM synth, very similar to the Yamaha DX series synths. Korg had this in a glass display and didn't do any demos or even talk about it. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about this synth. I despise the Volker FM as it was such a pain to program, maybe even worse than the DX7. But this OP6 has a bunch of sliders, knobs, display bigger than the DX7, so it should be interesting. Now we can't leave out Behringer when we talk about synths these days. They've been churning out synths every other month, even before NAMM, but the one announcement that I'm really excited about is the System 55. So the System 55 is a Eurorack form factor clone of the mighty Moog Modular 55, 35 and 15 systems. This is quite something because owning just a System 55 would cost upwards of $55,000, whereas the Behringer clone is going to be awfully affordable. If you were to go with the price range of the Roland System 500 clone modules they are also releasing, I'm guessing these two would be in the price range of $50 to $150 for individual modules. The EMU SP1200, classic sampler of yesteryear, is back directly from Dave Rossum. This is an identical reproduction of the original sampler. I believe it even has a new old 3.5-inch floppy disk drive. It also will have an SD card slot, though based on specifications, this is a bit vague. This is going to be an extremely limited edition. You need to sign up for a waitlist application, and they're giving preference to people who want to trade in their old SP1200s. The price on this thing is going to be a whopping $7,500. I'm just curious as to how this is going to do alongside modern gear. I'm definitely not going to purchase one, but looking forward to audio and workflow demos. Barefoot Audio is a big name in the studio speaker monitor world. Output has collaborated with Barefoot to create a new pair of speaker monitors, which is interesting because Output has really been expanding from the sample library domain to studio desks and now monitor speakers. Also, Barefoot speakers are very expensive, but this pair is going to sell for $699 a speaker. If I'm not mistaken, this will probably be Barefoot's cheapest product and Output's most expensive product. Either way, the result should be interesting. Oddly, the speaker doesn't have a name yet. It's just called Output plus Barefoot. You probably know Arturia's KeyStep, BeatStep, and the BeatStep Pro. Now we have the KeyStep Pro from Arturia, which is almost like the best of both worlds, which is exactly what I have been looking for. 3 full octaves, lots of CV connectivity, a 4-track, 16-note polyphonic built-in step sequencer, 5 knobs with automation recording. I wish it had a few pads too, but then maybe the beat step might become irrelevant, so they didn't add that. But yeah, it's a really good controller for any kind of a hybrid setup, and this is going to sell for $450. Alright, last I want to end with Slate Digital's Infinity EQ. Now there are plenty of options when it comes to EQ plugins, so normally I don't bother, but this is from Slate. They make really good products and this EQ just looks fantastic. It's a bit similar to the FabFilter Pro Q, but with Slate's All Access Pass, this new EQ is included with everything else they have for $25 per month. The plugin is not out yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it out next month when they release it. Alright, so those were some of the gear from NAMM I'm looking forward to. Let me know your thoughts on these products and anything interesting I may have missed. Until next time, stay tuned for more.